Okay, boys and girls, we're back. Brand new Take Aim podcast. Excited to get the show out to everybody, and excited to have this guy on the phone with me today, John Dittmer, a.k.a. Diddy, from the Unfiltered app. And John shares with us today some of the great success they had down in Missouri this year on his farm. Him and his son, unbelievable season, maybe his best one ever, I believe he actually said in the podcast. But it's a great show. And how cool that it is. Father and son get to go out and hunt and have the kind of luck they had this year. So hopefully you guys enjoy the show. As always, you can find us on the Unfiltered app, iTunes, podbros.com, and the Outdoor Podcast channel. All right, guys, we are back. Brand new Take Aim podcast. Excited to have this guy on the phone with me today, Diddy from Missouri. What's happening, Diddy?
Diddy, yes, that is my. It's on my birth certificate. It's a Diddy.
Yeah.
Just one name. Yeah, Diddy.
It's the official government name.
Yes, yeah. I don't. My Social Security is all zeros.
Exactly right. But for those that don't know, this is John Dittmer. Well known in the outdoor industry, but I'll let Diddy kind of take the reins on where he's been and what he's up to.
Holy smokes, man, that's a lot right there.
That
Maybe
is
I started yesterday and go in reverse till I get to where I forgot the past. But yeah, well, good to talk to you here, and I guess we're going to talk about the season a little bit. How it's been. It's been one of the best seasons we've had. You know, of course, Blake and I started hunting early September in Nebraska, and went to Canada, killed a couple moose, and then I live in Missouri, and
right.
Of course, Brandon, you were here at my place about a month ago with the Shock Effect boys, and so yeah, we spend a lot of the year kind of prepping our grounds and just kind of waiting. Our spots, or at least I have a couple of my favorite spots that I don't hunt a lot, but when I do, it's usually pretty good. And just hunting the area smart, I think, is the main thing, and not going in when you don't need to. So really, the first successful Missouri hunt was when I got back from Canada. It was taking my son out and trying to get his first archery buck. He's got a whole truckload of deer with his gun and his crossbow. He killed his first deer when he was 5, and he's just ate up with hunting. He's
how cool
and
is
he
that?
Follows it all. Yeah, it's really cool. He's got
how old is he now, John?
He's 10. He just turned 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so he's got the largest deer in the household, so he's pretty proud of that. He did have the record for the most points on a deer until until this week when I shot mine, and he's pretty pissed about that. But we keep him out in the woods trying to beat Dad's record now. I just told him I was a super good guy.
You have to get after it now.
Yeah. So, but we got him a Matthews Avail to shoot. We're going to get him the Stoke, which is a smaller. It's a decent frame bow. I think it's 27-inch riser, but it's a good sized bow. But my bow guy here in Warrensburg said, hey, I'd get him the Avail. It's the women's line of bow, or at least that's what they market towards. But for his build, it's just going to fit him better. So we bought that, and yeah, he's just driving tacks with it, shooting a 500 spine arrow out of it, and never.
Perfect. Yeah.
We never chronoed it to see how fast it was shooting, but it was a dart. So anyway, we went out, 4 or 5 times, and we were after any legal buck, and they have to have 4 on one side, and we had several. Like, we don't usually have spikes and 3-pointers and 4-pointers and 5-pointers walk by, but I think we had the record for that amount of deer that come by, because it seemed like nothing would come in front of us that was a legal deer.
This
so finally,
was like October time frame, right, Diddy?
No. It was in November. Yeah.
Oh, was it really? Okay.
when we had some coming through, we were hunting in October, but we just didn't have a shooter out there. And again, we were hunting areas that we go in only when it's absolutely perfect. So we didn't really.
You know what I was thinking of? I think that day I was there, you were saying you hadn't been out yet, but you were potentially tomorrow or the next day taking your son out. I think you told us. So
yeah, I'd have to look at the date. It might have been. It was early.
It might have been that week you guys started there. Anyways.
Probably. Yeah, probably was. So yeah, it was pretty epic, and so major fail moment. I guess I could get into this, but so he shoots his deer. It was awesome. Deer literally went probably 5 yards and died. So they were all excited, and I got the whole thing on film. I mean, it was film, SD card, but footage. It was great footage. Well, Dad was deleting some cards and actually deleted his entire hunt. Not only that, the entire card, which had all kinds of stuff on it. Yeah, it was. I had 2 cards that looked the exact same. And you know how this works. You put the card in, you transfer it to your hard drive, and then I pull the card out and then make sure it's on the hard drive so it's not reading off the SD card. So it's like perfect. It's on the hard drive. Grab the card, ended up being the wrong card. Grabbed the card, deleted it, and voila, just deleted a whole bunch of stuff. So
wow.
Yeah, yeah, that was just great. So.
That's not what you want to go tell your kid, for sure.
No, he was right there. I was actually teaching him how to do this process, which obviously was a super bad example right there. But so I told him, I was like, this is actually the opposite of how you'd like to do it.
So, exactly the opposite. Yeah.
So he was fine because we had already killed his big buck with a gun, and that was on the other card. So he's like, well, if I had one to choose, I'd rather have my big one on camera. I'm like, yeah, I guess that's one way to look at it.
That's right.
He's a glass half empty kind of a guy. So anyway, that was good. And then we started to get weather here in Missouri. Like it got cold. We got snow like you'd never seen. It never snows down here in November. Like it just doesn't. And so we got 3 snows, I think, and the deer were just moving. The rut kicked in. It was literally, it had to have been the best rut I've ever seen locally here. Just the deer were out running running rampant there in the middle of the field, cutting does off. It was absolutely insane. So yeah.
Hey, when was that? Like, I guess the major part of it, because I was there whenever. I want to say I came back down to Missouri on the 2nd, and then, I had the exact opposite experience than you. So I was just curious if I got there and lost before it happened, which just life I had to because of work. But I think we were there from
work.
The
Work
2nd to the 5th or 6th. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me. I'm going to find out here exactly when that was, but it was. I know it was that first week in November, no doubt.
Okay. All right.
Let's see. I'm looking at. So Colton killed his archery kill on November the 6th, and they were just starting to pick up right then. Because that's when we were seeing the 3-year-olds just out cruising,
right.
And it was that next week I bow hunted with Blake quite a bit. And it was some of the greatest hunting I've ever seen. There's deer on their feet, big bucks cruising. I had a couple. I had one that was probably in the 160s at Blake's, and I was self-filming that day, which saved the deer's life because I could have shot him at 30 yards, 25 yards it might have even been, and I just couldn't get it all the pieces together at one time. I had about he stood there.
For people that don't know, Diddy, explain how often that happens when you're self-filming. It's so hard.
All the time.
All the time.
Well, yeah, and it's always hindsight. You think you maybe could have done something a little differently to make it happen. This scenario was the same way I could have if I had known he was not, I had the does right below me. They were 5 yards below the tree. I'm like, well, shoot, he already followed him this far. He's likely going to come down this trail, and he did not. Had I known that, I could have positioned the camera a little bit differently, and there were several holes that he was walking through, and I could have stopped him, but it just, just didn't. So,
right.
Just being patient is the main thing. I didn't want to scare him or anything like that because got plenty of time to kill one. So, but that season was soon over with, the bow season, and then we were into the rifle season now, and that was really pretty simple. I hate saying it that way, but there's a big bottom field that I hunt. You could see 2,000 yards, and literally the deer were just standing out there. There was a big one. There was 2 bucks, one big one mediocre one, and one doe, and he was spending all of his energy chasing the little buck off, and then the doe would try to cut out one way, and he'd go cut her off and stop her. So it was just a long stalk out in the field. There's all these terraces and terrain that I could get around, and I'm getting about 100 yards, and that was I shot him. He went, I don't know, probably 10 yards, and
that was opening morning. Did he?
That was no, that was on Monday. So yeah,
it was a couple days.
It had been yeah. I don't remember the opening 2 days. We had seen multiple shooters both days, Saturday and Sunday. I don't remember exactly what went down. We obviously didn't shoot one, but
right. But you saw some, so deer were moving at least.
Oh yeah, it was insane. Like the whole week, we have a 10-day season. Every day I saw a shooter or two. Now they didn't hunt every day, but I would go. I'd go out and glass this 2,000 acres looking for the right deer. Because during the week it gets a little bit better, just because there's less people out and not a whole lot of pressure. And so I was just being patient was all it was, and it's. Again, when you can see that far, you really have the upper hand. And I don't really want to take a 500-yard shot, but so I kind of like to play the game and try to get as close as I can. It's fun to do that. So
yeah, for sure. You just took it. So you took advantage of some of the terrain, so to speak, and you closed the distance on them. Got out and got mobile.
Yeah, I probably could have shot them with my bow had I had a bow and just went a little bit further. They were in a perfect spot.
No kidding. That's
I do like. I honestly I like the rifle hunt. It's it's just some people they're like it's so easy, and it can be. It can be as difficult as you want to make it too. But I enjoy going out there and kind of having the confidence that if you see if you see a deer, you have the opportunity really to get him. It's just a different aspect, and I like shooting with a bow. I'm just not very good at it. No, I'd say this because I just so I'm a taxidermist, and I see all these 180s, 200s, and I do replica antlers. So I'm seeing 250-inch deer. I've done a couple 300-inch deer, and so size is like well, I'd really just like to shoot an old deer, an old deer. And I haven't really seen anything in the woods that is as big as what I'm, working on. So it's like I'm kind of immune to the size of the deer. Like, I don't know. That really doesn't get my blood boiling. It's kind of crazy to say that, but
yeah, you almost get numb to it. Probably is what you're saying.
Yeah. Kinda. So and so I've always been this way. I would just assume shoot like a 7-8-year-old deer that just had a gnarly, 8-point rack on it or something. Than to kill a 170-inch 3-year-old. I just
exactly
just kind of that way. But I'll fast forward to Monday of this week. I think it was Monday of this week. What day was that?
So hold on, Diddy. Let's back up 1 second. Yeah. So you ended up stalking really close to that deer. You ended up shooting it. It ended up being a really nice. Is it a 10 or is it a 5x4? I can't remember.
It 9. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, 9.
Okay. Even 9. Yeah, and it's a great big old looking deer. So I mean that's an awesome hunt.
Yeah. Yeah, he was definitely an old one. I don't know. I'm thinking he was 5, honestly. Like our 4-year-olds they're just giant-bodied ones around here. When they
are, man.
When they get to 4 and 5, they're just tanks.
I can't believe the difference just coming from Michigan when I come down to Missouri. Even your year and a halves are my 2.5 here. They're a year body-wise bigger. It's so insane. But what you said is spot on with just the body size. They actually get to probably, like you're saying, Diddy, 4.5. You almost can't even tell age unless you really know that deer, just because their bodies are so big that they all look that way, kind of.
Yeah, no, and that's right. And luckily, where we hunt, and we spend a lot of time, the 2 neighbors. Well, so there's 3 or 4 guys that really have their pieces of ground that they manage as well, and so we're all on the same page. Literally everybody is doing exactly what everybody wants them to do. I mean, we got a system where, if there's a deer that needs to be let go, we let it go. We don't harvest a whole lot of does. I don't think we really need to. And we know the deer as they grow up. We'll get a picture of one when he's 2, when he's 3, when he's 4, when he's 5, and when somebody ends up harvesting one of the bucks, everybody throws the pictures out there. Okay, so here he is this year, and here he is this year, and I got pictures of him last week, and that's pretty neat that everybody's on the same page.
Same page, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it really is because we all have smaller tracks. There's some that are better pieces than others. Some have more cover. I don't have a whole lot of cover. I have more ditches than timber and crop field. I got most of ours is food, so you're not going to really catch one during the middle of the day. It's going to be a morning or an evening hunt.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was getting ready to skip an entire hunt, but fast forward from my rifle kill to just a few days later. I killed mine on a Tuesday. I killed mine on my son's birthday, actually.
Did you?
And then that was a Tuesday. So then it was the following Monday. Colton, I took him out, and we had a blind set up, and doe comes out all by herself and cuts across the field, and you could tell her hocks were black as night. I was like, well, there's got to be, she's obviously in heat or close or something, because she's headed out in the middle of nowhere.
She's pretty
not feeding at all. I was like, well, and it was probably 30 minutes before the buck actually came out, or a buck came out. I don't know, but he was obviously on her trail, and so we it was probably 150 yards, I'd say, and so Colton shoots, kills that deer, actually drops it, and it probably went 10 yards, and we go down there, and this thing is an absolute beast. Had pictures of the deer, but I didn't really know the deer. It was like, so I'm thinking it's a 6-year-old deer, like the picture of it is just insane, just a chubby old neck, big long body, just a Brahma bull of a deer, but it was 127 inches.
Wow.
It was just a deer that was never cut out to be a monster in the head department. But fully mature, had the blackest forehead you've ever seen, or I've ever seen on a deer. Really cool deer, and that's the first thing he said. It's like, wow, look at the head on that thing. So it's going to make a really pretty mount. He's pretty pumped up about that.
Yeah, heck yeah.
So,
I love old deer like that. Just, genetics are one thing we can't control, but I just think it's super neat that a deer is what he is at no matter what age, but they all have something super unique and cool about them, and that's why I think probably why we love whitetails so much.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I was saying earlier how I, any kind of either bow or gun, I like to shoot old deer. 127 inches, it doesn't really matter. That thing was a tank, and that's the kind of deer that I wouldn't even hesitate to shoot. Yeah,
for sure.
Just and it's honestly, it's not easy hunting around here. I don't know what it is. Our county, we all talk about it. It's a hard county to hunt. and it's hard to kill the mature ones. We have them, but it's just not that easy. And maybe it's probably like that all over the place. But
right.
It's just not that easy to get those old ones on the feet. And with the rut and the weather, they were just visible this year. It was just, there's been years it's been 70 degrees here during the rut, and
it shuts them right down. Yeah,
shuts them down big time. So, yeah. So that was good. We got.
I bet you he was excited. Yeah, very cool for him.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was definitely pumped up and proud, and of course he wants his deer mount back next week, and I told him that he's going to have to wait.
Yeah,
he's going to have to wait a year and a half like everybody else.
Everybody else, yeah. He's probably in the shop every day begging you, "Where's my deer?"
Oh yeah, well, and he knows that I haven't mounted a deer for myself since 2010. Back when I was on Dream Season. That's the last deer I mounted for myself. I got a whole stack of them. I've got them ready to mount, but I feel a little bit bad when I work on my stuff, and I got everybody else's stuff to work on. So, but one of these days I'll get to them.
Right.
Just not anytime soon. It sounds like.
Yeah, he'll be after you for quite a while. Yeah. He'll get his for sure. You're right.
Yeah,
but you can't let your kid down.
No, not too many times anyway.
No, you're right.
Yeah. So then, let's see. After gun season got over, I hunted a couple days right after season closed, and they were still typically. The deer hunt's just no good after gun season's just been pressured. The deer are smart.
Yeah, shut down.
Coming out. Well, they just kept after. They were still out running around. I'm like, well, shoot, So I hung some stands after I killed my buck, in some new locations that it's on the same farm, but it's just a pinch point, like a creek draw and woods on each side, and I was getting quite a few pictures, and I'd seen a big one standing there with some does a few days before I shot mine, and hung a stand there and put a camera there and had several nice deer on that camera. But I didn't have the wind to hunt that spot that night, so I went over to another spot where the farmer had actually, there was a big dead tree in the corner, and it had blown over. We had like a 60-mile-an-hour windstorm and blew 2 trees over in the beans, and he just harvested around them. There wasn't even a big spot of beans. It was probably 10 yards by 10 yards, maybe. And then the snow hit, and I had a covert cell cam out there. And one evening, it was the 24th, I got a picture of a big one on. It was like just right after dark. It was like 6:30 or something. I was like, oh, look at that one. And he looked like he's a 170-inch 10-point on the camera. Just a big tank.
Right.
So
big old deer.
Yeah. So I had already set up a blind over there and decided to go in. We had the snow and it was cold. I think it got down to 10 that night, and so I got in early, 2:00. This was this past Monday. Got in at 2:00, sat around till 4:30 before the first deer came out, and then there's 20 out in the field. And out there feeding, not all. They would all come to the beans and then move on. They had demolished the beans overnight. Like there wasn't any pods left.
Oh, no kidding.
They had just cleaned it. Yeah. So then there's $5, two big ones, and then it might have been $6. I think there's 4 small ones. They're out there racking around and having a good time. And then the 10-point came out, which I thought he actually was bigger than that, but he comes out and in the beans and feeding there, and he wouldn't give me a shot. He was always quartering to me, pretty harsh. So I really didn't have anything until he got up to about 10 yards, and he turned, and it was just perfect. So
wow.
Ended up. So we had snow. And he just sprayed on impact, and he went about 70 yards, and he actually went onto the neighbor's piece, and they're really good neighbors, and they're on the same page on the management program. I was shooting, the good deer. probably are a big reason why there's a lot of good deer in the area, because they have a lot of really good timber that they don't touch.
Right.
And we all play the winds right. We don't, the deer hardly know we're around, So I called them, and they came out and helped me track it. It went about 30 yards inside the woods, and it was pretty awesome. They had a few pictures of it early, and then I had pictures of the deer last year.
Did you really?
And he looked like, he was always like a December deer. He'd come in super late, and
just food-wise,
they had,
I guess.
It was corn last year. It was beans this year, but same exact spot. It just showed up.
Wow.
Really not a deer that was a resident, I wouldn't say, because they had a few pictures of him early, and then I think he just kind of disappeared for a while. And, of course, obviously he lives somewhere else or doesn't move a whole lot, because we've all got cameras, plastered everywhere, it seems like. So it ended up it had like 16 points on it. Just had some extra trash on it, and very similar to
the one side. It has what, double or triple brows?
Yeah, I think it had double. Yeah, that's right, triple brows on the one side, and it's got two dagger points out the back.
Yeah, how cool.
And he's got one whacked up side. It's kind of a real short side, and he had a giant ball on the end of his front hoof. So,
no way.
You always wonder if that's the reason why he always had a dwarf side. But last year he looked like a 5 or 6 year old. I mean, he was just a brute. In December he was that big, because normally they shrink up. He's just a tank. And then this year, obviously, he's a year older, and so I don't know how old he actually is, but
unreal.
He's
he definitely had some really good mass too to go with it.
Yeah, he sure did. He absolutely did.
Which indicates an older deer usually anyway. So, I mean, like you said, you're probably spot on. He's probably way up there, at that 6-year-old range somewhere.
Yes, I think so for sure. I've got the jaw, but I'm not an expert at aging. When they're over 5, it's kind of hard for me to tell.
Yeah, it is hard to tell when they're that old. But nonetheless, it's just so cool that you guys in that area get deer that old is so cool.
Yeah, and I know. I mean, there's deer older than that I even know of right now. But they are like hunting ghosts. You'll get pictures of them, but you really have to be pretty careful with those. You don't get any second chances with them.
No, probably not.
Yeah. No, but like I said, it seems like everybody's on the same page, and it really is. I can't even think of a case where somebody's really out. I think all of our kids, they kind of get a free pass of if they want to shoot a particular deer, a smaller deer, whatever. There's plenty of mediocre deer that are 8s or 9s that could be taken out, because our deer, if he's a 10 point or better and he's 3 or 4, I mean, it's kind of like you can expect him to be a giant. If he can get to 6, he's going to be a giant. We just had a deer. So a good friend of mine, Anson, there was a deer hit. He actually he found it on the side of the road. It was about a mile from that piece, and it's actually a piece that I hunt as well. But it's not. It's just a bunch of open ground. It's not like you'd go sit there. It's kind of like one of the spots that you'd find a rut and buck out there, bedded down at the doe. Anyway, it's a typical, just a big typical full velvet is in August, 195 inches. Yeah, just a giant. The 6-point side was 95 inches. Just a straight typical, just a massive deer.
And is that the one? Did you have that in the shop, did he, if I remember?
I did, yeah. You might have seen that one then.
Yep, I believe I did anyways, yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple big velvets, but that was, so when they, they just get old, that's all it takes.
It does, man. It's super important is that age, and sadly here in Michigan we don't get that. An old one here is 2.5, and it's so weird, Diddy, like to talk about it, because I don't think people get it. Like we shoot 130-inch deer here, and if you did like a buck equation, it would be like a 160 somewhere else. You know what I mean? Because we just don't get very many 3-year-olds or 4-year-olds here. So, so it just fascinates me to, talk with someone like you or get to go visit and hunt Missouri because you guys have some of those deer, and it's just super exciting to hear about.
Yeah, and I tell you the truth, what I think is if you guys would have the age structure if everybody's on the same page, and I think that's probably the take of it. It's really, we've got,
for sure,
4 or 5 miles of people that we know of that actively manage, and it's caught on. And, there's lots of places like that. We're not special, but I think that's, if you got one of those spots, and I don't know about your area in particular, but when you know your neighbors and you can actually have a conversation with everybody and kind of, we've seen the increase in the last 5 years. I mean, we've seen what they can do. And deer travel. I mean, they travel. They say whatever 5-10 miles sometimes during the rut. So if you're looking at a 5 or 10 mile area that you manage and everybody's on the same page, like, look at the sky's the limit there.
It really is, man. And like you said, you guys, I mean, from what you just said, it sounds like you're at that point now where everybody's seeing those results, and now, I mean, that means everybody's hooked. So hopefully it's,
you have confidence.
It doesn't change.
The main thing. Oh, I'm not gonna see a big one because they don't exist. Well, they exist, and you just soon eat your tag than to kill one that's going to be even bigger next year. And that's the majority of the people that I know out in the area. They're the same way. If he's
right.
If he's 4 and he's if he's a 10, maybe got some trash and stuff, it's definitely one you want to let go. Like, like literally passing 4-year-olds, and we're all pretty good at that. Just let them go. It's a shooter. There ain't no doubt about it. Like, it's a shooter, but guess what he's going to be next year.
That's right. Yeah, that's hard to do. So, I mean, kudos to all you guys involved, because that does take a lot of restraint and a lot of personal belief in your guys' plan. So that's super awesome. So good for you guys.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, so we're tagged out in Missouri. Colton and I are. Blake's got some tags left, I believe, and I leave on Friday, this coming Friday, for Nebraska, a week from today, actually. So
that's going to be exciting. I'm excited to hopefully see some footage pop up on the Unfiltered app and get to watch you out there. I love Nebraska, and I think it's super cool to, spot and stalk mule deer is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's I know the weather, so it's supposed to get 3 or 4 inches of snow out there tonight and tomorrow and Sunday. And then the temperatures are supposed to be high in the 20s and low in the single digits. So I've just, I haven't done a ton of Western spot and stalk in the snow, but I have a feeling I need to sight in my bottom pin because it's, stalking something in the snow, they can hear you from a frickin' mile away.
Yeah, no kidding.
So,
yeah.
So we'll see. You can see a long way out there. That's the good news. So, and in the snow, they ought to stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, you would think.
So,
yeah, I mean, so you got some advantages going with you. Just hope that snow's not crispy.
Yeah. Bottom pin, top of the back.
That's right.
No, honestly, I've been shooting, 40 to 60 quite often, and which is a kind of a normal range. I don't really like to shoot that far at an animal, but I'm very comfortable shooting that far to target. So I've just been, trying to keep my confidence up for the hunt, and if I need to take a 60, I believe that I can. Obviously, the conditions need to be right, and the deer needs to be pretty relaxed to get an arrow in there. But
for sure,
I will be prepared.
Yeah, and you probably have some crazy winds out there, so like you said, the conditions just got to be right to make a shot like that. So everybody knows that ethically you're doing the right thing, which is great.
I'm hoping it's not windy because 0 degrees and wind just don't mix. I'm pretty sure that I'll end up freezing.
No, that's brutal.
We'll give it a try. But,
right.
Let's get this straight. I'm not that mad at them.
I'm not that bad at it. Not going to be able to do it. No, I hear you there. There's nothing fun about it. I'm not going to lie. Like, I've hunted probably like you did a number of years now, and that even in the 20-degree range, and it's 15, 20 mile an hour wind. That's brutal. It's hard to bow hunt in that crap. No doubt.
It is brutal. If I knew of a particular, I guess a deer that I was after, or just had a plan of how it was going to go down. This is kind of we're walking in 5 miles and we're going to see what's there. So that's sort of a hunt. I know there's a lot of deer there because the guy I'm going with, has seen several. But I think there was a 200-incher out there. I knew about him. I don't care what the temperature is. I'm going.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little different going blind because you kind of gotta work to make that faith in that area and see what you get. But like you said, yeah, there's pretty much no weather going to stop any of us probably from getting on a 200-inch deer. That's no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but man, super excited for your season and your kids and your son. And excited to see what happens for you next week, man.
Yeah, well, good talking to you, and I'll definitely keep you informed if we have any luck. We'll be in touch.
Yeah, for sure. So, did he let everybody know where they can find you at? And obviously, like I said, hopefully next week they'll be at least seeing you on the Unfiltered app with a nice deer down. Yeah,
that's exactly right. Just go to the App Store and download Unfiltered Outdoors. That's where you see all the hunts, and occasionally you'll see us hunting live on there. So that's usually that's pretty entertaining when you get to watch it go down live stream. So
it is pretty cool. I like it. I actually was talking to a buddy of mine that I turned on to the app, and he was like, "Dude, this is the coolest thing ever. I'm so glad you turned me on to it." He's like, when that little notification dings off, he's like, I'm checking in, and it's like I'm hunting. It's really awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but yeah,
fantastic.
Thanks, man, and
okay.
Good luck next week. I appreciate the time today and the good stories.
All right, Brandon. We'll talk at you later.
All right, man. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.